have fun.
Welcome to Chatter Gang, a pod about the Magic and the Gathering. And today we have an amazing guest, an amazing person on hand. Not only is he someone who cares about the community, is trying his best to be a great part of the community, but also, in my opinion, is the meme king of the community. Today we have MJVariant. MJ, how does it feel to be have Spider-Man looking for you now that we have him in Magic?
Oh man, thank you, Jose, for having me here. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that introduction to be introduced as the Meme King, but yeah, I am MJ Variant, aka MJ Rising Star, because they printed my card in Spider-Man.
Yes,
So
they
honored
did.
to have that. But yeah, my name, I'm MJ Variant, so maybe he's not going to look for me per se, but
Hopefully, we want
if
we
he
want to
wants,
keep you here.
yeah, if he wants to know about some Magic the Gathering, I'll be sure to help him out.
That's perfect. Now, MJ, I do call you the meme king because, like, looking through your history, and actually, the rising star part is also a very apt name because you started, from what I saw, in 2024, really doing the social media stuff, correct?
Yeah, so I've, been a enjoyer of Magic the Gathering content. I've watched my favorite creators on YouTube, and I really didn't partake in Twitch as much or Instagram until I
Hmm.
started creating content. And actually, what got me started creating content was I went to MagicCon Chicago in February of this year,
Hmm.
2025, and I went there solo. I went to kind of treat myself for my birthday month, and I wanted to meet some of my favorite creators and see if I could just talk to them, play games with them. And so after I went to MagicCon Chicago in February, I thought, you know what? I love
Oh,
this community. I would love to do this as well. I can do this. And so,
that that's right. 2025 Chicago. I don't know why I thought 2024. My dates are all mixed up, but I do know that I remember the first picture you had was with Joe Johnson.
yeah. So that was like amazing to just kind of roam around Creator Central and see folks like Joe Johnson and all of the big creators playing just with fans and with their friends. And I remember walking up to, I think it was Joey from EDH Track, and didn't want to interrupt their game, wanted to be very respectful for people that were playing. But just listening to their banter back and forth, it was exactly like my friends that we had
Yeah.
back, the games we'd had back home. And I remember telling him that after the game was over and I got to meet him and get him to sign my playmat. I was like, you guys are just like we are back home. And that's what it is. It's, we're all people, we're all creators, we have everyday lives. We just love this game. And so yeah, MagicCon was a kind of a catalyst or a pivoting point for me to say, you know what, I'm just like these folks. I love Magic. They love Magic. We can play. We can exist in the same space, and I can create some stuff that I think's funny, and also just kind of be a part of the community.
And they're very funny, by the way. I love watching your stuff. You are very creative. I feel like you have a really good knack for finding a movie scene or finding a TV scene or something and just like hitting hitting the perfect note of what that emotion is. So do you have a favorite one that you've made?
Yeah, so just give a quick shout out to Grant Goblin Grounds
Love
because
Goblin Grounds.
when I was new at creating content, I didn't know where to begin, right? So I
Hmm.
started with just the pictures from MagicCon. I started with my favorite decks, and then I just happened at the time. Grant, I think, was maybe just over 10,000 followers on Instagram and was doing a giveaway, and I entered his giveaway and did the things you're supposed to do, and he sent me a thank you message back, and so I asked him quickly. I said, hey, this was the first, in my mind, the first creator that took notice of me. I said,
Yeah.
hey, thank you for messaging me. Can you help me? I'm trying to grow my audience. And so Grant gave me the tips on how to make those memes, how to remix the memes,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where it started. And as you mentioned, I do like to make funny jokes that fit the scene. I've done that with other content creation that I've made. I used to make like Game of Thrones memes and things like that.
Nice.
So as far as a favorite, I can't think of a favorite remixed one. I could tell you some of my most popular ones, and then I can tell you my favorite custom one when I finally started putting my face out there.
I know your most popular ones. I have the answers for that. I want to see if you know your most popular ones though.
Yeah, yeah. My most popular one, the one that kind of just really took off and went quote unquote viral, was a girls' softball game where an umpire, unfortunately, the ball is tipped by the batter and then it tips the catcher's glove and it hits the umpire right in the crotch. And he wails and rolls around, and it's hilarious, and I think a
Mhm.
lot of people laugh at it because it's just a funny scene, but that's my most popular one, and then there's a few others that I remember going viral, and part of it is credit to the original creator. So I never like
Yeah,
to take credit for the video. I just like to make people laugh. And so there's some people that have strong opinions about remixing reels and saying you're not making your own content, but I don't know. I mean, I want to give credit to the original creator as well. It's their content, but I'm making
yeah,
people laugh in a, if you like magic, you're going to laugh because this makes sense to us.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, another one is there's a girl that's dressed up and there's like the Empire theme from Star Wars, and she's
Hmm.
cracking a big whip, and I'm like, now I know why you play mono black. It's like she's beautiful and she's like dominating and powerful, and of course I want to play mono black because look what she's capable of. So yeah, that one's very popular too. And anyway, it's like you never know what's going to go viral.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just take 5 minutes, you make something you think is funny, and then other people like it too. As
and
far
it's
as
really nice when it does hit like that because you're like, okay, I do get it.
yeah, yeah. And I'd say probably my third popular one is it's a scene from a movie, Never Back Down, I think it is. And it's like an
Mhm.
underground kind of cell phone scene where this one guy's doing capoeira style fighting and dancing around. And the joke is it's an intricately built artifact deck, like putting all the pieces together versus mono green. And the mono green player just one punches him and knocks him out.
Yep.
So I think that one
Like,
it's still popular because it resonates with us. Like, oh, look at that guy. He's doing this and that, putting all the pieces together, and he's dead.
yep, and he's down.
Yeah. But so I've had fun making those again. I didn't think
Yeah,
that one was going to take off at all, but it's I don't know, probably 300,000 something views. It's
yeah,
crazy, and people still like it to this day.
yeah.
So it's
Because
fun.
it's amazing. Yeah, because they really, like I said, they really hit the point of like they hit the funny bone in just the right way. And like one of my favorite the one I remember first seeing was your Tarkir one, your Dragonstorm one, with the guy wanting to buy the collector's boxes.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's like, I don't want to do it. And
yeah,
like I was like, I feel this in my core,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's amazing that you've been able to parlay that into like on Instagram, you're almost to 5,000, right?
yeah, yeah.
In just or a rising star as we're talking about in just 7 almost 8 months you're like way up there on the Instagram stuff. TikTok is a little odd because TikTok is
Yeah.
weird right now, but the fact that you've been able to do that, how does that make you feel that you've been able to resonate so well with not just the meme stuff but also putting yourself out there and the trying to be a good part of the community?
Yeah, so how does it make me feel? It makes me feel seen and heard and valued because, we all have our inner circles, right? We find
Yeah,
our friend groups and we find our play groups at LGSs, and there's some good feelings in, hey, I've got people that I love to play with. And then when you're making content, it's like you don't know who's going to like it, if it's going to be seen, if the algorithm's going to pick it up. And just like you mentioned TikTok, I used to love TikTok before I started content creation. That's where I spent a majority of my time. I viewed social media more so as entertainment, like short-term entertainment. So
yeah.
I would scroll TikTok or scroll Facebook and see the reels, and I would just spend, my downtime watching short form content. And then when you go to create it, you put something out there and you get 12 views or 100 views, and you start
Hmm.
to think, okay, is this even going out there because the algorithm's
Yep.
kind of keeping it down? But then what I've liked most about this content creation is not the views or the followers, it's the community of friends that like a
Yeah.
new group of friends that I've made playing on Spell Table, making content, sharing each other's content, laughing in the comments, seeing other people's creativity. It's like that's been the most rewarding part of it. I'm glad for the growth I've gotten, but like really the most important thing to me is the growth in numbers of friends and other Magic players and creators that I've gotten to interact with. Because 7, 8 months ago, I knew none of these people.
Yeah. And it's interesting how quick you're able to connect with these people, right? Like, for example, like Celtic Warrior Gaming.
Yeah,
Fantastic guy. And I know he was one of the people that I believe you met in Chicago this year, correct?
yeah,
And just an absolutely amazing guy. And now, like, I recently got to meet him in Chicago, or Chicago, in Atlanta. I know where I'm going when I go places. I recently got to meet him in Atlanta, and just like the nicest person, like like you said, like just normal person, nice guy. And same thing with all the rest of the community. And it's not something you really get to know until you get to go to that Magic Con and meet these people because you see them from so far away, and then you meet them up close. You're like, oh, this is me. They're just me, but like in another person, right?
Yeah.
So like, when did you go to Atlanta as a creator?
So I was not a featured content creator, but
Okay,
again, a lot of my friends who I've played with are like Goblin Grounds
yeah,
and Train Casually Games and Shy Twilight and VQ,
oh shy.
just people that I've played with. And so I wasn't featured. There's a lot of us that weren't featured content creators at Atlanta,
Yeah,
but you're there and your friends are getting featured. And I made sure I stopped by at their meet and greets as often as I
yeah,
could. I went live a couple of times just to show people what it looks like.
yeah,
Because again, when I went in February at Chicago, I was kind of overwhelmed. There's so many things to do, and you think like 8 or 10 hours is a long time, but really it's not. Like the day just flies by and you can be overwhelmed. You don't know what you want to do and how to prioritize it. So I wasn't featured, but I enjoyed showing off my friends, and I went live
yeah.
not for me, but to just show everyone else like, hey, if you didn't make it, here's Grant's big moment. Like Grant's featured, and look at this
Mm,
line for Grant. Look at all of us. We're all together hanging out.
I love that.
But that is my goal for next year to hopefully be a featured content creator at one of the MagicCons or multiple MagicCons. We'll see.
Yeah, make it happen, Wizards. MJ's fantastic.
Thanks, Jose.
But you really hit something that I did want to talk about, and it's that community aspect. You are really good about supporting, about
Yep.
supporting others, about being in the community and trying to uplift the community. What why is that something that is so important to you? Is making sure that you're not just a part of the community, but you're helping, push them out there and push them up and make sure that they're spotlighted the way they are.
Yeah, I think it comes down to we all have gifts and talents and abilities, and we're all looking again for that connection. Like every time a creator puts something out, like they have put effort into it. Most of the time, an hour or two that you haven't seen. Like you see a 3 minute clip, but it took an hour or an hour and a
Mhm.
half. And so, like when we do that, it's because one, we enjoy it, and two, we want other people to enjoy it, and we want to find
Yeah.
our community. And so, I know because I've done that what kind of work it goes into. And so when I see one of my friends or another creator that I may not even have seen before, maybe it's my
Yeah.
first experience, I know like the work they put into it. But as a like just my general personality, I've always been the type that even as a manager at work or a leader at work, I wanted to see the people that I worked with or the people underneath me grow. So one of my first careers was for a big box retailer. I cared very little about the success of that store's sales and profit. What I really
Mhm.
cared about was the people that I was in charge of. If they had a goal to be a manager or they had a goal to advance their career, I try to work with them to reach that goal. So that's kind of translated into the support of social media, because again, when you see someone put something out, it takes a half a second or less to hit the like button, hit the repost button, share it to your
Mhm.
story, drop a comment, a few seconds to say, hey, this is awesome, or great work, or bravo, whatever. But the algorithm needs that. Like, them
Does.
do those things so that other people can see it. And so I feel like that's just a very easy way to contribute to the success of your friends and other creators. It's just by liking, sharing, reposting, commenting. And the more you interact, like, you build better friendships and better relationships.
Yeah.
Take Joe, the Magic Gatherer. He's got a bit going on now about
Yes, he
it's
does.
it's funny, and he's committed to doing it every day. And every day I'm in the comments, and I'm sharing and I'm reliking it. I didn't know Joe before Magic on Atlanta. I think we played maybe one game before Atlanta, but he's an awesome member of the community. And now it's like I
Yeah.
love Joe. I played with Joe multiple times. I see his bits. He's hilarious, so I share them.
I feel bad for his t-shirts.
Yeah, yeah. So the very first live I did with Goblin Grounds at Atlanta, Joe was like, "We're live? What?" And he just rips his shirt off at MagicCon Atlanta on the floor, and I'm like, I was not expecting that, but anyway.
That's
So
just
yeah, it,
him.
it means a big deal to me as far as this community goes to
Yeah.
just uplift and share and help each other, and it's as simple as liking, reposting. It's really quick to do that, you know.
Yeah.
But that has
Right.
also helped me grow these friendships, right? So
Yeah.
the I started commenting on the blue collar commanders memes, and then yeah, shout out to Hazen, and then you say, oh, they're playing on Spell Table, so I'll tune in, and I tune in on Twitch, and it's like you crack some jokes in the comments and a
Oh,
good
you're
time.
so funny in the comments, by the way, of those games. You are so funny.
Thanks.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to focus. Like, the I got to play with them once so far, and I'm trying to focus on the game, and you're over here just making us crack up. We can't even play the game because
yeah,
you're just saying all these things, and Hazen's like going wild, and it's just amazing.
yeah. Well, and that's another thing. It's like you just be yourself, right? You're just like
Yeah.
I love to make witty, timely jokes. And then of course there's bits, sometimes you
Hmm.
just do the same bit over and over, and it
Oh
just
yeah.
it makes me smile and laugh. And if it makes someone else
Yeah.
smile and laugh, like that's even better. Um,
Exactly. And
yeah.
I'm a wrestling fan, so in wrestling they call it getting your shit in. So like you got to give the fans what they want. They came to hear you say like if you're Stone Cold Steve Austin, they came to hear you say what or like because Stone Cold said so. Like
Yeah.
you got to get the stuff that the fans want. So the bits are important.
Yeah. So one of our bits is at the beginning of the game on Hazen's like second or third turn, we always play the 2 hours later blurb.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then sometimes you'll just pop it in later in the game, but it's like it's just funny because it's a bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
I
love
love
those
that.
guys, and I love the community, and I love supporting the community. So seeing someone else grow or get awarded with an ambassadorship or a
Yeah,
featured content creator, like that's not a slight to me. I feel like congrats to them. They've put in the
yeah,
work, and maybe I've played a little part along the way in encouraging them
yeah.
and other things. And I know this question's about community. I want to shout out like other members of the community
Please do.
that do that for me,
Yeah,
because again, you're like, I don't know who's watching this, or I didn't get any interaction, but there are people that will show up in your comments, and or they'll share your stories, or they'll love your stories, and I see those, like I see the people. And so like folks like Filbert, Tom in
I'll
the
put
Pink
that.
Garage, I have someone
Hmm.
else named Juicy Moosey, and like I always see like they've liked my stories, they've commented, they've popped in, and then you get to know that person more on a personal level, because it's like that person is encouraging me.
Yeah,
And Filbert and I share cat memes. Tom didn't play Spell Table, but actually started Spell Table just to play on my stream.
that's awesome.
And it's like, that's someone who, quote unquote, was a fan or liked my content, and now we're friends.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that, and you are so easy to connect with. You're so easy to like want to talk to and joke with and laugh with and things like that. So I think it makes it really easy for people to want to be in your presence and support you in that way because you are genuinely just a good guy. And
Thanks. Well,
I know I haven't gotten to know you that long, but I can tell, like, you can tell just from the interactions that we've had and the things that you've noted. And I actually want to talk about that stuff here shortly. But one thing I did want to ask, because we talked about the magic related to content creation,
mhm.
what started magic for you? What is it that got you into magic and then continued to where you are today?
Yeah, thanks. And real quick, I've again, we've known each other shortly, but I've seen your content, and I love exactly what you do, and I'm glad you're doing this series, and I'm
Mhm.
glad you're highlighting your friends that have meant a lot to you. But so I made a video a day or two ago, and it starts off with like vampire bats and says it's flicking bats, that whole meme.
Mhm.
But I talk about how my best friend in, I guess, sixth grade, Nathan, he moved again, I live in the middle of the country. I live just like in cornfield territory. And Nathan's family moved from New York, which to me was like, oh my gosh, New York, as a kid. And one summer, I believe it was 1994, so this is early days of Magic. Like we were playing with Revised and Fourth Edition and maybe Chronicles type stuff. Nathan and his cousin introduced me to Magic on like a sleepover, and I learned how to play very quickly. And back then, like Sarah Angel and Shivan Dragon and
Back in the good old days.
yeah, and Singer Vampire, they were like the
Mhm.
bad, these are like your game enders. But I love
Mhm.
the game, and I loved being introduced to it. And in fact, the first deck that Nathan's cousin made for me was like all black, mono black deck, which my parents hated. So that introduced me to the game. I wasn't allowed to play the game because
Hmm.
I was raised in a very religious home, and they didn't like the idea of a game called Magic
Hmm.
and things that were unholy in the game. So I didn't.
Which good card back then? Unholy Strength.
Yep,
Shout out
yep.
Unholy
And
Strength.
right, one of the early versions of Unholy Strength, the artwork had a pentagram in the
Yep.
background, and
Hmm.
that was, yeah, big no-no.
Yes,
So
I remember very vividly.
yeah. So again, being from a very religious family, it was like, no, you're not going to play that game. And I tried to appeal to my dad and was like, well, I could play just mono white. It has angels and heroes and good stuff. But I couldn't play until actually. So Nathan and I remained friends. But yeah, I didn't play for several years until I went to college, and that was around the time like Onslaught and Scourge were out. And but I got to play in college, kind of fell in love with it again. Started playing like kitchen table Magic at my apartment, getting other friends to play, and just really grew from there. And there have been periods in my life where it's like maybe it took some time off or had to like prioritize family and couldn't play, but Magic's
Mm.
kind of grown from that introduction from Nathan way back when I was 12 years old, and we were playing with like all white bordered, commons and uncommons. And the funny thing is, back then, like if you wanted to buy cards, there was a magazine. I think it was called maybe Troll and Told or something
Mhm.
like that,
I think that's right.
and you'd have to like look up the card in the back of the magazine. You'd have to call a 1-800 number, and your parents would
Mhm.
have to mail a check or money order, and then you'd get your cards like weeks later.
Yeah. Remember, kids, back then it wasn't as easy to do as it is today.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
what so I started playing in the late 90s. I was young. I started out with Pokemon. I went to a card shop and then I noticed all these people playing Magic. So basically whatever card game other people were playing, I was trying to get into as well. So like I didn't even I knew about the magazine, but I knew my family would never do that. So I basically just whatever someone would let me have, or if I could buy a pack, that's what
yeah,
I had. So I had a I mean it was just blue black back then, but now it's considered I forgot the name, Demir. But I let me actually let me ask you this. This is going to be a slight divergence because that's what
mm,
this podcast is. It's just us chatting. Do you still play kitchen table Magic?
yeah. So my friends and I, we still, it's all Commander now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I moved into my house, it'll be 8 years,
Hmm.
and I eventually got a table that's like 6 feet long, and mostly it's just the four-player Commander pod. But yeah, like that's something that we've had several nights here at the house where we have Commander night at home.
Do you ever still get to play like the old 60 card like random but not standard, not modern, not like just I put 60 cards on a deck, let's play. Do you still ever get
Yeah,
to do that?
yeah. So my friend Lance, who came to MagicCon Atlanta with me, it was his first experience at MagicCon.
That's
We
awesome.
had we had this thing over the last few years where like whenever a pre-release would happen, we would take our pre-release decks and we would start with that, and then we had
Mhm.
rules about maybe we could add a pack a week, or every time we got together you could add 2 or 3 packs, and we could trade amongst each other, but the pool had to stay the same. Like you
Mhm.
couldn't like go buy cards, you couldn't like take something out of your personal collection. You had to stay within the limited pool of what we opened,
I like that.
and that was a fun challenge because again, you're playing less high powered, less constructed, more kind of limited plus, right? So you have
Yeah.
your original starting deck, and then as you open packs, you might change colors, or you might change
Mhm.
strategies, or you might make trades, and then it becomes a little more constructed because now you've got four of the same card in the deck. And so we've had some fun doing that, and that's kind of given us that nostalgia of just playing with what you have. So that's a fun challenge. I think that should happen more, where there's maybe like limited
Yeah.
leagues or standard leagues or
Yeah.
we don't have blocks anymore, but
Yeah.
constructed leagues that are just like all the cards that come out in 2026. We'll start with the base set, or maybe start with a foundations sealed pack and then go from
Yeah.
there.
You know,
I think,
shout out to Steel City MTG where they just play limited against each other. They get 2 packs, 3 packs, build a deck, play best 2 out of 3, and like you don't see that enough anymore, like you said. So I agree. I think that's why I want to shout them out because they do that twice a week.
oh yeah,
They're
yeah, I love,
awesome. Love
yeah, I
them.
love Brad and Steph. I love Limited. I love their explanations and their education. It's fun. They're good.
Oh yeah, also the fact that they were judges and like know all this stuff, like thank you,
Yeah,
because I aspire to be a quarter as knowledgeable as Brad and stuff about most anything, but especially Magic. So shout out to them. But I love that you talked about that journey of like bouncing in and out of Magic, because I feel like that's a very common thing for people who played as long as you and I have. Because I did the same thing. Like when I went to high school, I kind of stopped, and then like I found my cards again. I was like, oh, I'll kind of do this again, and then I really started playing again in like 2017. So I feel like that's just, it's such a relatable story to be, oh, I was in and out, in and out, in and out, and here we are doing content, have playing a game that we've been playing forever, and just having a blast, right?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating that we're able, looking back then at who we were, and then looking at today, like, oh, we get to talk about Magic cards and like just, oh, and do all these things with people that are just really fantastic. It's a blessing, and I'm so thankful that someone else, I know a few people who have gone through it, but someone else now I know that has also gone through the ebbs and flows of life happening and then getting back into Magic somehow.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah, absolutely, please do.
You know, as I mentioned, I had a big break between introduction and then actually like being able to buy cards. Because in college there was a card store on basically the college campus. It was right,
Yeah.
walking distance. And so I could go to the card store every day and trade, and then again have those kitchen table games and buy cards. Buy. I didn't like. I've never really liked to buy packs, but singles were available, so you can kind of craft what you want
Yeah.
to play. So that kind of gave me a new friend group and activities there in college. So I did that. But then as life happens, you start a family and you start a
Hmm.
career and move to an area that didn't have, I was like not around a magic store, not around people that played. So basically quit for a few years.
Yeah.
And then I remember after my kids were born, I did my first ever draft. We'd moved to a new town. I'd taken a promotion and there was a store in town. So I was excited. Hey, there's a store in my town. I can go and maybe play. And my daughter was like a year old, maybe. And I guess maybe her mother had like a outing. So I had the baby, I had my daughter. And
Hmm.
I go to the store just to check it out. And they're like, hey, we're drafting in 30 minutes. Would you like to draft? And I'm like, what's a draft? I don't know what that is. And it was around the Scars Mirrodin. And they're like, well, you
Nice.
draft and planeswalkers were out now. And like, you might pull a Koth, whatever planeswalker or this planeswalker. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so actually, with the baby, drafted. And sure enough, the third pack I opened a Koth Planeswalker. And so that,
Nice.
that part of life, though, that got me back into Magic. I have a store, I have a community, I have players. And once you kind of find an LGS where you like, you make friends, like you want to come back. And so I started coming back for Friday Night Magic as I could. You have
Yeah.
responsibilities, but then down the road, well, as you mentioned, life happens. When I went through a divorce of that my wife, and now I'm trying to like balance. Like I get my kids on these days, but I need, when you have a major life change like that, if you just sit at home, it's going to weigh on you, and
Yeah.
you're going to think about all the mistakes you've made or things that aren't right, or your life's not where you wanted it to be, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
When I didn't have my kids, it's even harder to fall into like a form of depression or just not wanting to leave the house or not doing
Yeah.
anything. But Magic was actually an avenue that I could leave the house. I could go to Friday Night Magic, I could go to events if they had a draft on a special night, and it forced me to get out of the house because I love the game, and it was giving me an outlet. And I made friends there, and if you didn't show up for a couple of weeks, those friends would check up on you. Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? And that just simple act of friendship is a big deal. So that Magic has always seemed to be there at multiple points in my life, and again, I've had to drop it sometimes, focus on other things and pick it back up, but it's like every time I needed a community, I needed an outlet to socialize, and Magic was always there. And that's kind of been the theme. So when you talk about content creation, I never thought I'd be making content, but it's like
Yeah.
I look back, and Magic and the community around Magic, the gathering, has been such an integral part of my life and an integral part of
Yeah.
my socialization and having a good time, being, competitive, but also having fun. Magic's been there, and it's like that community is very important to who I am today because I've always had a place to be accepted and have fun and have
Yeah.
friendship. So it kind of went on a little longer than I thought, but
No, you're good.
it's
No,
it's it's important to me, and it's brought me to where I am today.
Yeah, no, it is important, and I'm glad that you thank you for sharing all of that. I think it's important to recognize our journeys and express to other people where we've been on those journeys because maybe they feel like, like, oh, I haven't played in so long. Can I even get back into this? And then, like you said, you baby in hand in an LGS, I'm drafting. Like this
Yeah.
is like that's a vibe right there. That's amazing,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that it led you back to it. And actually, as I was thinking about this while you were talking, because I remember in the post you talked about this Grand Prix. Can we talk about the difference, the huge, gigantic difference between MagicCon and Grand Prix?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh! Like how many have you been to Grand Prix wise?
Okay, so again, I live in the country, but
Yeah,
I'm fortunate to have interstates close to me. So
yeah,
major cities, about a 3 to 6 hour drive.
yeah.
And I remember there was a Grand Prix in Memphis, Tennessee, a Grand
Hmm.
Prix in Nashville, Tennessee, Grand Prix in Atlanta.
Hmm.
So I think I went to 3 different Grand Prix. But again, there's multiples I could have gone to,
Yeah.
but we went as a group or friends went. And this was like 2012 to 2014. And they were similar to what a MagicCon is. You had vendors, along one part of the floor selling their wares or whatever,
Yeah.
but they weren't swarmed. I mean, you could walk
Yeah.
up and there'd be like two or three, four people around.
Yep.
And they had the Grand Prix event, which you had to
Yep.
register for. And I think at that time it was like $75 to
It
play in the
was.
Grand Prix.
It was. I played in one. I remember very specifically.
Yeah, and they would have formats. So one of them was standard, and I think the other two that I played were limited. So like the first one limited I went to was like Innistrad or Avacyn Restored, one of those. And I remember I had a great deck, but I made play mistakes. Grand Prix. So you have the big Grand Prix tournament where most everyone came to the Grand Prix to play the tournament, not to play other games, but to play the tournament. And then day one, if you didn't have a good enough record, you were cut. And day two, you would spend playing other games or other events. This was pre-Commander as well. But I remember Grand Prix maybe being 2,500, 3,000 people total, maybe 3,500. So they weren't super huge. And again, if you scrubbed out, you had other things you could do. So
Yeah.
that was my first experience. And actually, I didn't think about it until MagicCon Atlanta. But the best I ever did at a Grand Prix was a Grand Prix in Atlanta. And I think that was
Oh.
2014 maybe or 2015.
Mhm.
So about 10 years before this. It was the like Return to Zendikar, I think, where we had like allies and the
Yep.
introduction of devoid creatures came out.
That sounds right.
And so I'd went to the Grand Prix Atlanta, and actually I had won an RCQ locally. So I had a 2 round bye, which basically 2 free wins
Mm.
and 2 extra hours to kind of like mess with your sealed pool and go
Lucky.
fish it. Yeah. And I actually made day two of Grand Prix Atlanta. It was the best I've ever done. I was like, 10-3 or 11-2, something like that. And I got to play day two. And so that was like, but that was so different than what MagicCon is today. Because, again, you had maybe 3,000, 4,000 people there versus I don't even know how many people.
It was
Uh,
so many. It was so many.
yeah.
It
And,
was so many. And it feels like there's more of a focus on, like, obviously you still have the competitive stuff and you have the sealed and you have all that, but it feels like it's more of a, hey, let's just play some games event now versus
yeah,
previous.
it's almost like the Pro Tour part of it is more of an afterthought. The
Hmm.
people who are really pursuing the Pro Tour play it, but like everyday people don't attempt it.
Yeah.
But back then, you in the Grand Prix, you might play against a pro. I didn't play against a pro, but in day two, I sat right next down to like a top five player at the time.
Oh, wow.
I'd recognize him. I was like, oh my gosh, like this top five player, which made it even worse when I made a play mistake because I was like, oh crap, I just looked so dumb right next to this pro player, such a noob.
Hey,
But
I'm of the thought that everyone's bad at Magic, so you just we need to embrace it. You know,
yeah,
everyone makes mistakes, as I think Hannah Montana once said.
yeah,
But a slight shift because you've talked about it a couple times, the things that you do, and not just how you are with the Magic community, but you also do a lot for your outside of Magic community, right? Like
yeah,
you work with a nonprofit, or you work for a nonprofit. You work to help people. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Oh yes, I love to talk about this as well. But so again, my you've heard a little bit of my life in stages. I've always worked for, I guess, corporate jobs, and even though like I'm not really a corporate minded person, I'm not a good salesman.
Hmm.
I've worked in jobs where you had to sell something to get commission to get your paycheck. I've always kind of had this heart for helping people. So even in those corporate jobs or the commission job, like I'll put other people's needs or desires to advance kind of on my mind of, hey, I want to help them get there. I want to help them better their financial situation. I want to help them better their, career. And so for the longest time, and I want to talk real quick about my dad. Growing up,
Please, please do.
my dad worked at a factory. It was the biggest employer in our county, and it paid a decent wage for what we were growing up. We weren't rich by any means because my parents had 5 kids, and they also took at a time in their lives where they were taking care of like some of my aunt's kids. So like,
Yeah.
but my dad worked at a factory. He always had to take his vacation days and take them like one at a time or two at a time to take off like a Friday to be at our sports event. And so he would do that. He would work like these hours that he hated, this taxing physically and mentally job, but then he would take his time off to be with us. And he always told me, son, if you can find a job that you love, where you're not working in a factory, but that you love what you do it. So for about 20 years, I worked in corporate jobs or sales jobs, and I didn't love them. I didn't love the job, but I always remembered what my dad said, and I always felt, well, if I'm helping people, this is still a meaningful job. Well, in 2021, December 2020, and 4 years ago, a devastating EF4 tornado was on the ground from Arkansas to, I don't know, Indiana, Ohio. It tracked for like over 200 miles, and it just happened to be on the ground and cut right through the middle of our town. And
Goodness.
so it just kind of demolished our town with others. There were other towns that were affected as well. And it was the first time I worked again for a corporate job in finance and banking,
Mhm.
and I was able to volunteer locally. I was able to be on like to volunteer immediately to help. I was able to get involved with community organizations that were helping. But really felt this heart for I want to do more. So whenever a disaster like that happens, each area should start what's called a long-term recovery group focused on helping make sure that no one falls through the cracks, that
Mhm.
if someone was impacted by this disaster event, that they get the help they need with the resources. So the resources are allocated correctly, volunteer groups are brought in. And so the long term recovery group was started 2 or 3 months after the tornado. And then about 2 or 3 months after that, I joined the board to help, any way I could. But I still had a
Yeah.
full time job, and I couldn't do much other than show up for board meetings and help make decisions. But then the opportunity came that they were looking for a new executive director. And I just really felt this pull that, hey, this is your chance. This is your chance to change careers, which is scary because you know what pay and
Very,
benefits you have, right?
very,
You're like,
very, very.
you've got your pay and benefits set, you're making your house payment, you've got your kids, and you're like, all right, I know what things are going to be like. But then I felt this pull, like, all right, grants, but I can learn that. I at least have confidence in myself that I'm capable. But
Yeah.
I did finally make the career switch to leave the corporate world and become the second executive director of our nonprofit to help with long-term recovery.
Snap,
And it
snap.
was,
All of that.
yeah, it was scary, but I'm glad I did it because it allowed me to put my full-time focus on helping people get their homes put back together, thanking volunteers that were coming to our town. So we had volunteers from all over the country that would travel, and it's just amazing to see that people sacrifice their vacation week, kind of like my dad would sacrifice to be with
Yeah.
us. They'll sacrifice a week or two to come to our town that they'll probably maybe never visit again and help a family put their house back together or fix it. And so that's what the long term recovery group did. We had a list of people in case management that, reported damages. We vetted them to make sure they were actually living there and
Mhm.
not just someone that came in after the fact. and we aimed to make use of every dollar that was donated to put good use to it, to get things that were up to date, not just quick fixes, but things that were as good as or better than they had before. If a house, we said a house always had to be safe, secure, and sanitary. So if there was something that maybe wasn't because of the tornado, but maybe their roof was bad to begin with, or something, we would fix that too. We would fix the issues to make sure it was safe, secure, and sanitary. And so I got to do that and be a part of the long-term recovery group. And we developed a program to help renters because in disaster, a lot of the benefits that are paid out are only paid out to homeowners, like homeowners insurance or certain big donors. They will not allow their donations to go towards a rental unit because that landlord is profiting off of it, right?
Mhm.
So it's, and then if that rental unit gets fixed, the landlord could say, well, hey, now this unit is worth this much and up the rent or kick the current tenants out. So we developed a program to help renters become homeowners. And that's what that was the next step is I got to actually transition out of the long-term recovery into this new program, and it's basically an affordable housing program that helps renters become homeowners. And we have done, to date, we have finished 24 houses that we've either purchased and renovated or built from the ground up. And taking my banking background, I was able to help write the mortgage documents and help people have affordable payments. So that's what I do now. And I love helping the community. I love being a part of kind of the recovery story of our town. But more than that, it's again seeing these 24 families have a new lease on life to go forward from this day and have ownership of a property that's going to provide them a safe place to stay, plus generational wealth in the form of a house.
Yeah. And that's so important, especially today, where housing is so difficult, right?
Yeah, it's one of
I'm go ahead, go please.
I was just gonna say, so yeah, it's one of the basic needs. If you don't have your housing secured or your food security, then you don't have basic needs met.
Yeah, it's so important for people to have though, especially those two securities, because that's where a lot of things start faltering, right? For adults, for kids, for anyone, is not having a place that you know you can go to at the end of the day, not
Right.
having the food to have the energy to be able to do the things that you need to be able to do throughout the day. And I'm so thankful for someone like you who took that chance. Like you said, it was an uncertainty in a time where you're like, I have this, that, and the other thing, but I'm feeling pulled to that. And I'm so thankful for someone like you who was willing to take that leap and make sure that you could help others in the way that you're basically you're trying to make the world how you would want it to be. You're treating other people how you would want to be treated, and I find that so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and it's still scary. There's still
Yeah,
like not a certainty in income or longevity of this job because, disaster funds are great, but they run out, and then other disasters happen and need attention. So, there's still like this, I want to help people. I don't know how much longer I can. I'm gonna help people as long as I can, and if this doesn't continue, I'll find another way to help people.
and I love that you're finding every way to help people, not just in the community, but in Magic, in your everyday life. Like you are just out there. What you're literally just the most helpful person around is what I'm hearing, because you're just like, I just want to help. I just want to make the world a better place. And I think that's really important for people to see, is that you're not just this funny person who makes people laugh, who makes people feel comfortable being able to talk to you, but you're a person who genuinely is out there doing the work to make sure the world is a better place. And I hope that I know the people around you see that, because they see you. But I hope that other people who see your content, see what you're doing, I hope they realize that too, because you are such a good person.
Oh, thanks, Jose. And I think it again comes down to I love content creation. I love magic, but more importantly, I just love people. I love the
Yeah,
gathering. Um, that means a lot to me to have friends and to have people check in on me and to support me. And so I'm like, you know, I know how it makes me feel, so I'm going to do what I can to help other people.
that's
And
beautiful.
whether that's deck building, I love to talk shop. I love to talk cards and variants, and Oh, this thing's awesome and it's $50. Well, hey, did you know about this? This is pretty close to it. So I've had a lot of people ask me deck building questions, and I need to get to cracking on actually doing that as a segment or series or
Yeah,
Twitch stream. But because I just love it, and it's like, if I can help someone have a better time playing Magic or a better time in life, mental health is so important
yeah,
that I'm gonna do it because I know what it means to me. And yes, I want to be a featured content creator, and yes, I want to grow this, and maybe in the future somewhere it becomes an income stream. But really, I'm just doing it because I love it. Like, it's fun. It's entertaining. It's
and you're good
my
at it.
my outlet. Thank you. So, like even if I never make it to those big payouts or big acknowledgments, like I feel like it's still a valuable time use of my time because again, it's just a personal thing that I need too. I need
Yeah,
engagement and interaction and
yeah.
yeah.
It's a human need. Just being able to connect with others. I understand that.
Mhm.
And speaking of connecting, your stream Magic Junkies.
Yep.
So what moment where you're like, I'm gonna make my own commander show, my own commander stream, and how has that experience been versus what you were doing before with making memes, with putting out other types of content? How's that been different for you?
Yeah, so I think it's again a lot of it. Some of it's about growth, right? It's
Yeah,
pushing yourself to learn a new skill and going back to starting content creation. Again, I viewed it. I know what good content looks like,
yeah.
but then when you start to make it, you're like, I don't know how to do this. Well, yeah, and it is as simple as the old saying, just do it, just do something. Because again, you learn to ride the bike as you're going.
For
So
those who don't know, I don't know how to ride a bike, so I have no idea. No, I'm just joking. I know
hey,
what that means, but I have no idea how to ride a bike. So there's
well, you
that.
can still learn today, Jose. I
Yeah,
believe in
there you
you.
go. We got it.
But yeah, like I didn't know how to remix a reel until Grant pointed out how to do that. I knew how to like even TikTok. There's lots of features I don't know. Instagram, there's features I don't. You just kind of learn a few bits here and there. I never had a Discord. I didn't know how to. Discord's fairly easy to use, but I didn't know how to build one. I had to watch
Yeah,
YouTube videos. I didn't know how to record. Like I was like, what's easy? I could play Arena and I could record it. I didn't know how to do that. I had to watch videos. I had to learn how to do OBS. I had to learn how to do layouts. And so it's just pushing yourself a little bit to grow and to make more content or make more things that you enjoy. So I enjoy playing on Spell Table. I was a guest on multiple streams for a while. Shout out to Blue Collar Commander. Shout out to Fast Don't Like Gaming, VQ on Convoked. Anywhere I could sign up, I started playing. And again, it's kind of one of those things. I can do this too, and I can bring my friends and community to play with me. Magic Junkies again, just a take on MJ. I was trying to think of a catchy name for MJ, and I was like, oh, Magic Junkies. We call this game Cardboard Crack. We're all there's sports junkies. Why can't you have Magic Junkies?
yeah, I like it.
And so part of that came because, again, I was trying to grow content and grow a brand because MJVariant's cool and all. It's a take on the Loki series, a variant.
Yeah,
But Magic
I
Junkies
agree
is
with that.
something we all can be, right? We all can
Yeah,
be a Magic Junkie. And so I think it's just a place where, again, I wanted to branch out. I wanted to learn how to do it. I will say it was another growth experience, learning how to set up that, how to manage Twitch. Still learning all of those things. It has allowed me to kind of reach out to more people to play on the stream. It's a lot of work
mhm,
though. So I kind of pushed
yeah,
myself a whole lot in September where I was playing like 3 times a week and it it kind of can wear you out. So I'm actually slowing down on the Commander stream in November, December. I have my calendar up, so if anyone wants to play, just hit me up on Instagram. There are some open dates in November, December, but of course with holidays and the need to cut back, I'm basically slowing down on that. But I hope to do more things Magic Junkies in the future.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's kind of challenged me to learn it, but also like another way to interact with the community.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Every chance that anyone can get on and get some practice with the live stuff whenever you can try to do it for yourself. I think that's always a good thing, getting the reps in. Because
Hmm.
if you don't, then you don't know what you don't know until you start trying to learn it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just ask your favorite creators. If they have a schedule, you can a lot of times get that schedule when it's posted and hop in. I'll even play some games offline if somebody just wants to learn how to play on Spell Table. I will say, there is a lot of saturation with Commander streams,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of them out there, and some of them use chaos type things that the
Mhm.
chat can interact. Some of them
Yep.
just play. Mine's more standard. There are some redemptions, but it's mostly helpful stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can always reach out to your favorite creator and just see if they have a schedule or have time to play with you. And if I need to, I'll make time off schedule to play with you and show you how to do it. But we're also hoping to use the stream maybe to play some other games that aren't Magic. I
Okay.
actually went to a Rift-bound League of Legends pre-release last night.
Yep. At the time
So
of recording, it just came out this weekend, right? Is
yep,
that right? Okay.
yeah, yep. Sorry.
No, no, no. You're okay. You're okay. I couldn't remember if it was this weekend or last weekend.
Yeah,
I've been seeing so much about it, so like it feels like every day feels like a year somehow, but also it feels like no time at all. So go on, please.
yeah. Riftbound, I believe, came out on Halloween, and so there was not a store in my immediate area, but there was a store about an hour and a half away that's in a larger town, and they are a Riftbound store, and so I was able to go to a pre-release last night and get a pre-constructed deck or pre-con deck and some packs, and it was a good time. So we might be doing some of that on the stream as well, just to kind of get some variety.
It looks super interesting. I don't. I'm not very well versed in League of Legends
Me
because
neither.
that's what it's based off of, right? But the cards look awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I never played League of Legends. I just knew of it from videos that I'd seen.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah, it
looks
is.
looks
It's a
insane.
new way to play. It's similar to, in my mind, after playing it last night, it's kind of like a mixture between Magic and Lorcana.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Lorcana is not too hard to learn. I've watched a few videos on that too.
Yeah,
I might give it a chance. I might give it a chance.
yeah.
But I also, if I add another card game to my repertoire, my wife
I know.
may not be happy. So
Listen, I'm on the fence about it myself, and they were like last night. They said anyone involved in the event, you have the opportunity to buy these boxes, right? You can.
yeah,
We're only selling them pre-release right now to the people that played in the event, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna wait before
yeah,
I invest in another game because yeah, it is a lot.
it is definitely a lot. So MJ, I thank you so much for being on here. I have a few questions to help wrap us up here. They're very difficult questions. They're so hard. You've never heard questions this difficult. Believe me.
Oh no.
No, I'm just they're not. But I will give examples just kind of ease in. So my first question though, leading back to something that you talked about earlier, is there a card that you can think of right now that is a good cheap alternative to a card that is way more expensive that you would suggest to people?
Oh yeah, yeah. I made a video about this weeks ago. Honestly, I couldn't tell you when, but everyone was excited about the Soul Stone. The Soul Stone is the chase card for the Spider-Man set. I think even the base copy is probably still like $75 or
I
more.
believe so, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't checked the prices because I'm not buying it. If I open one in a pack, great. I'm not buying the Soul Stone.
It's not sticking
Um,
with me. It's not I pulled one, it did not stick with me because I needed some other
yeah,
cards. So I feel
yeah,
it.
and that's another thing. If you do open one, it's like the potential to just flip it now and buy a whole new precon deck and upgrade
Hmm.
the precon deck. You could totally do that if you pull a soulstone. So, yes, as far as variant, I used to do a segment, and I probably should do this more. Variant cards. There's multiple options to what the soulstone does. First of all, it's a mana rock. I know it's indestructible. It taps for black, but if you're just wanting reduction, you could use you know this is where like my memory's fading, but the medallions. So like I think it's
Oh
the jet
yeah.
medallion, the black medallion just reduces all black spells by one. That's actually going to be more mana positive than the soul stone because the soul
Yeah.
stones can give you one mana per turn, where a jet medallion could give you two, three, or four mana per turn. So if you're just looking for that, now then you're going to say, well, that doesn't do the other ability. The other ability is to return something from the graveyard to the battlefield. The soul stone has you, I think, pay six, tap it. So that's actually seven potential mana you would have that turn,
Mhm.
and then exile a creature you control. So you're gonna, it's flavorful. It's part of the story of the Soul Stone.
Yep.
But you lose a creature, so you're down seven mana sources and a creature, and then going forward, you get to return something to the battlefield. Well, there's cards that do that. Like Debtor's Nail is one. It's an older card. I think every upkeep you get to return. And then Virtue of Persistence, which I believe is the black virtue from. the most recent Eldraine set, I think is a very close replica to the Soulstone. Virtue Persistence has a 2 mana adventure thing that you can pay 1 and a black. You can give a creature -3, and gain 2 life. So it's a removal spell. You need interaction in your deck, and Virtue Persistence will give you that. So you can take out someone's creature. You can win in blocks, attacks, whatever, and then you can cast the other side of it, I believe, for 7, and it has the ability every upkeep to return a creature. So Soulstone, $85, Virtue Persistence, and Jet Medallion, probably less than that. I know it's 2 cards for 1, but no matter what you're looking for, there's variants out there. Nothing is going to do exactly what the Soulstone does, but if you're just
Right.
looking for some options on a budget, go take a look at Virtue Persistence, Jet Medallion, and Debtor's Nail.
I love that. That I think that's a wonderful shout.
Yeah, yeah,
Anytime you can save 80, 90, 95% of the actual physical cost of buying a card, especially in these standard legal times and this crazy commander, people feel like they need the exact card every time. I think that's a really good shout.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, sure, Soulstone's great if you want the
Yeah.
flavor of the Infinity War. Again, and there's no card that does all of the things it does. So I get it if like you're like, well, that's better. It is better, but I don't know. I just feel like we spend a lot of money on this, and if you spend $85 on one card, when you could have bought a precon, some upgrades, and a Virtue Persistence.
Yeah.
Like I think Virtue Persistence is like $6 maybe.
Maybe.
So it's like, yeah, you could have used the other $79 to do other things.
Exactly. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. All right, now on to other questions because I wanted to make sure I got that question in because I knew you'd have something offhand. What is your favorite card if you have one?
Favorite card, man, that is tough. I love so many cards.
You can name a few. You can do a Mount Rushmore or top five.
Top five. Well, first of all, we'll start with the commanders
Mhm.
because again, you kind of we all have our identity, right? I'm a control
Mhm.
player. I'm an aggro player. I'm a combo player. I'm a whatever.
Yep.
I'm an aggro player, and a commander in a deck that I built that I didn't think would be as much fun. I knew it would be fun, but I didn't know it would be like something I just loved. Is Goreclaw, Terror of Clawsisma.
Love Goreclaw.
Yeah, it's just 4 mana bear, and then it reduces all your other big stuff if it has power 4 greater by 2, and then when it attacks, it gives +1/+1 and trample. And so to me, like that is the heart of the things I want to do. I want to play big stompy creatures for cheaper. I want to attack, and I want to buff my team and give it trample. And so if you haven't built a mono green deck, there's lots of great mono green commanders. Go check it out. Go build yourself one. Have fun. Turn creatures sideways. I feel like attacking needs to happen more often.
I
Um,
agree. I'm also typically an aggro player, so I have my big green stompy deck. Mine's Galta, also
yeah.
cost reduction. So
Yeah,
it's nice.
yeah, and I play multiple cost reductions in Goreclaw, like Emerald Medallion, and anyway, just
The Green
everything that
Monument,
says,
I was gonna say.
yeah, yeah, everything that says this green spells are one less, or creatures are one less, or whatever. I'm like, I throw that in there. It's
And then
cool.
somehow you get World Spine worn out for two. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's anyway. It's I call mine a mono green Stompy Storm because there's also
Ooh,
lots of card draw effects for whenever a big creature enters, like three power 3 greater, 4 greater. And so like there's turns where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna play this for 2 mana and draw 2 cards. Oh, I'm gonna play this for 2 mana and draw 2 cards. And also all of the effects that let you like Nykthos and
mhm.
Mana Dorks that let you add a bunch of mana. So anyway, that's probably one of my favorites. As far as other cards, I'm really big into Mana Dorks. I know people say like, well, they die to removal or they die to board wipes. To me, I will cut. Don't tell Command Zone this, but I will don't tell Rachel Weeks, but I will cut lands for Mana Dorks or turn one mana acceleration like Wild Growth
Love it.
because I'm like it's like a land for 1 mana, and I may never keep a 1 land hand, but I may keep a 2 land hand with a Mana Dork. So I'm really big into, and also they trigger anytime like a creature would be cast or enter. So they trigger ETBs, they give you things to sack. So I'm really big on those.
I love that.
As far as like interaction, this is a tough one for me. Just I'm thinking about the different types of things we play in our decks, right?
Yeah.
I don't like to play a lot of mana rocks because usually I'm playing green, and usually
Yep.
it's better to play a creature or like a rampant growth or something than a mana
Yeah.
rock. But if you're playing legends, Relic of Legends is really good.
Yep.
Um,
That's a good one.
I play it. I actually added it to my Final Fantasy Terra deck, which is all. It's like 98% from the Final Fantasy set, but
Oh
Relic
wow.
of Legends can generate you a ton of mana. And interaction, that's a tough one for me. I like things that hit multiple permanent types.
Okay.
I don't like to restrict myself to just like this destroys an artifact or enchantment. I like to have something like Tear Sunder. It
Mhm.
gets an artifact or enchantment, or you can pay extra to get any permanent. Modal spells like that too are really good. Like there's a new one that's coming out in Avatar, The Last Airbender. It's like a 2 mana green enchant instant. It destroys artifact or enchantment, or you can put a +1/+1 counter and give hexproof to one of your creatures. Like I love modal spells.
How do you feel about edict effects?
Edict effects are tough. If your deck's built around it, sure, but
Okay.
generally people have extra, like I said, mana dorks or tokens that edict effects are tough to kind of.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing
Because
like a mass one, yeah,
yeah.
then you
Because
need
I'm
that.
because I'm thinking like pick your poison. I like pick your poison
Oh yeah, yeah,
personally.
yeah, yeah,
But it is an edict effect, right? Because they
yeah.
could sacrifice something that they're not going to care about, but at the right point, it could be, oh, like I don't have flying. This person has flying. I just want to get
hmm
rid of flying creatures. Get
Yeah,
it out of the
actually,
way, right?
yeah. Pick your poison's another good one because it's cheap. It's 1 mana. You have modes, so you have 3 different options, and then like you said, it could get rid of someone played an Avacyn, but they have no other flyers. Hey, sack your flyer.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. If I can get an absent out of pick your poison, I don't care what
yeah,
else happened after that.
exactly, exactly. I mean, and it happens. You think, oh, that'll never happen. They'll have another flyer. No, like there'll be games where it's like they're playing, other stuff, and oh, they only have one flyer, and pick your
Yeah,
poison takes out an Avacyn, and maybe 2 other flyers from your other opponents. But
yeah.
yeah, I love that. And I guess the last thing I would say as far as favorite cards, I play. I encourage people to play sack outlets, like instant speed sack outlets. Obviously, if you're playing a reanimator deck or a deck that cares about when you sacrifice something, you need sack outlets. So I'll give you two that are just like all stars. The first one is Goblin Bombardment.
Love it.
Goblin Bombardment lets you sack a creature to deal 1 damage to any target. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're playing tokens, it's going to be like a little machine gun where you just can take out problematic creatures or just kill an opponent or take out an opponent. And also, it saves your creature from an exile effect. So if someone goes to, like I played in my Slimefoot and Squee Reanimator deck, so it lets me sack Slimefoot and Squee anytime I want, and it wants to be in the graveyard. But I can't tell you how many games people have tried to swords or path my Valgavoth that's in the
Hmm.
deck. And they're thinking, okay, I got rid of Valgavoth, and I'll just be like, well, I'll sack it to Goblin Bombardment, do 1 to your face. So now it's back in my graveyard. I can reanimate it again. They couldn't deal with it, so Goblin Bombardment's MVP if you're in red and you just want. And again, it sometimes you're like, oh, you're at 8. Well, I'm going to sack these 8 creatures and go 8 to your
Yep.
face. And then the other one is Alter Dementia.
Love Ultra Dimension.
It's similar. It's 2 mana, sack a creature, your opponent or target player, so you can target yourself if you're doing Reanimator, but target player mills equal to that creature's power. I have beat people who have played a one ring on their turn and were going to untap and beat me just by
Hmm.
sacking a bunch of creatures, making them mill, and then they die on their upkeep or on their draw
Nice.
step. So
That's very nice.
yeah, Altar Dimension is another one of those free sack outlet. Sometimes you're milling yourself to fill your graveyard, and sometimes you're taking out an opponent through mill that you
Yep.
may not have been able to beat through combat damage. So both
Hmm.
of those are what I call alternate win conditions. If I can't beat you through combat, I can maybe beat you through milling you or doing enough damage to your face with tokens or
I love that.
creatures. Yep.
I will say another one that's good for token decks. Do you play token decks? A couple
Yeah,
token
yeah, I
decks
have.
is Alter the Brood.
Oh yeah.
It's one drop. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield, each player mills. That also gets around the One Ring. That gets around Terry protection. That gets
Yeah.
around all those protections because it's each player. You're not targeting the player. So I actually play that in modern. I play a Scurry Oak slash
Oh yeah.
Basking Brood Scale Rosy Cotton deck that
Yeah.
revolves around Alter the Brood. So Alter the Brood, love that as well. I love the Alter Dementia shout too because I
Yeah.
those are card like and this was going to be another question, cards that people should play more often. I think
Mhm.
Altar of Dementia is a card people should play more often.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's not for every deck, but if you're doing
Yeah.
anything with your graveyard, you
Yeah.
can just it helps you self mill anytime a creature would die in combat or would be eat a removal spell. you just
Yep.
get a little bit of value out of it. You say, well, I'm
Yeah.
going to sack it and I'm going to mill myself for 4 because I care about what's in my graveyard or I
Yeah.
have ways to get it back.
And add that with the blue crystal from Final Fantasy, you're getting even more value out of it.
Yeah, yeah. If your
Yeah.
plan is to just take out your opponent, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And speaking of your Altar of the Brood, there's a combo that I've not yet made a video on it yet, but
Well, I'm excited.
I've seen other people talk about it. It's if you're playing blue, you have the I think it's Retreat to Coralheim. I think that's what it is. It's whenever a landfall, whenever land enters, you can tap or untap a permanent, or you can do something else. And there's an old land called Ghost Town, and Ghost Town has an ability for 0. If it's not your turn, you may activate the ability for 0 to return Ghost Town to your hand.
Ooh.
So there are multiple creatures and multiple artifact creatures. So you can play this. You need blue for the Retreat to Coralheim that lets you tap to put a land into play. So
That's
with like an
amazing.
yeah with those 3 cards, you tap, you put Ghost Town into play. For 0, you return it, or with the Coralheim trigger, you untap that
Yep.
creature that lets you play it. And then for 0, you return Ghost Town, and you have infinite landfall triggers, infinite permanent ETBs. So like you're playing Altar of the Brood, then you're just like, all right, I
All right,
mill everyone.
here you go. Peace out.
Yeah,
I love that,
yeah,
which is why, and I've said this in previous episodes, but for your sake, Elixir of Immortality. Play Elixir of Immortality. It's a good card, and it will keep you from getting milled out easily
yeah,
because you can put your graveyard back in your deck. It saved me a bunch of times from graveyard hate and from mill. So just
yeah,
throwing that out there as well.
yeah. And one of Jose's pet cards.
It is. It really is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I bought when I saw the card originally. I think I bought 10 of them because
Yeah,
I was still playing 60 card random that wasn't a format. So I
mhm.
made sure to have it at least like 2 in every deck just to make sure. And now it's just about in every commander deck I have.
And while we're talking about pet cards, one of mine also is Scavenging Ooze.
Oh, there you go.
Again, just talking about graveyards or things like that, having a way to interact with someone's graveyard is very important. So there's other cards that do what Scavenging Ooze does, Deathrite Shaman, or there's like a white version of Scavenging Ooze that's an
Yeah.
equipment cat or whatever.
Yeah.
Because people
Oh,
reanimate
Lion
people.
Sash. Lion Sash.
Yeah, yeah, Lion Sash. Or even, I guess that your Elixir of Immortality, right? It hits the graveyard before
Yeah.
it shuffles, so like you can exile that.
Hmm.
So, Jose gets to do it once, but not twice.
Yep. I hate, I love hate Scoos. I love it when he's on my side. I hate it when I'm against him. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I agree with that. And then it's funny. You've actually answered a lot of the questions that I was going to ask here just through natural conversation.
Through
You're a
through
natural, by the way.
through
You're amazing.
Chatter Gang, baby.
Yeah, Cheddar Gang, baby. One last question I have for you before we let you get back to normal, not talking to me life is what hopes do you have for Magic as a game, Magic as the community, for the community outside of Magic? What hopes do you have in the days, weeks, years ahead?
That's a great question, Jose. And as you were asking, I was just thinking about the things that I haven't talked about today. I've mentioned the community, I've mentioned friends, but like this community is one of the most accepting places for diversity and inclusion, creativity, uniqueness, and I hope that that continues. I hope that,
Yeah,
I know you're this is called Beacons of Hope and Chatter Gang. Like, I hope that everyone knows that there is a place to play, have fun, cut up, be competitive, be creative, and this has all of those aspects to it.
yeah,
Whether you like a certain play style, you want to be CDH, the CDH community gets kind of a bad rap because you're like, I don't
yeah.
want to play competitive, but they are so inviting and inclusive, and they want to teach you and they want to play with you, and they accept proxies. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to spend thousands of dollars. Like every part of this community there's a good out there.
Yeah.
Now again, there's some bad players, there's some bad personalities, there's some magic. You're gonna see that from time to time. But the
You're
thing
gonna see that
is,
everywhere too.
yeah, the thing is, most of us are gonna stand up against that. We're gonna say, hey, that's not cool. We're not gonna play with that person, or come over here and play with us. We're not like that. We are gonna teach you. We're gonna help you get better, and that's part of mine too. It's like I try to win. Like my daughter gets on to me. She says, "You got to quit winning, Dad. Like they're not gonna want to play with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like I want other people to win, but I don't want to like just lay down and let them win.
Yes.
Like I want to teach them how to beat me. I want to make them play
Yeah.
better, like learn from me if I like did something really creative. And so my hope for the future of Magic is that we just kind of keep that. We kind of keep
Yeah.
this community of, you know, whatever you want to do in this community is valued, is valuable, and there's a place for you. There's a place for you to go to have fun, to kick it, to laugh, to create content, to enjoy content, to be in the comments, and then once you're like comfortable, share your personal stuff with us. Like I'm I'm so happy to talk about my past or my experiences and kind of hopefully help someone. And I want other people to be comfortable with doing that too. I respect people's boundaries, and that's what Magic community should do, but
Yeah.
also I want to be inviting, right? So I respect your boundaries. If you don't want to talk about something, you don't want to do something, I'm never going to push you to do it. But if you want to have a friend that's going to listen, you want a friend that's going to help you, whether it's in the game or personal, that's what this community is, and that's what I hope Magic continues to be. Now, from a gameplay perspective, I mean, there's all these opinions about universes beyond and universes within. Yeah, I'm an old school player. I love the old school cards and the old school
Hmm.
story. I do want more of that. I want Magic designers and decision makers to prioritize having, if not equal, at least equal, minimal equal of custom sets to Universes Beyond. But also, I love Universes Beyond. I didn't think I would, but when I see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something that like was meant a lot to me, and I'm like, I get to play Mikey, I get to do this. Like,
Right.
don't hate on that. Don't hate on Universes Beyond. Like,
Yeah. Don't
understand
yuck
that.
someone's yum. Yeah.
Yeah, for some people, it makes them excited. It makes them happy. It gives them like an incentive to play the game. Like I hope that for the future of Magic, yes, we can lament like the good old days when we had Sarah Angel and Singer Vampire and we had our own, our in-universe stuff. But like you can still play that, you can still enjoy it. I built a whiteboarded deck for the
Nice.
nostalgia reasons, and it's like I can still do that, but also let someone play SpongeBob against me and not be a jerk about it. Like it's we're still playing the game. These are game pieces. Those are
Yeah.
modified game pieces. Like
Yeah. Just be cool.
yeah, just be cool, have fun. So I hope for the future of Magic we do maybe get more in-universe sets so that we kind of stick to the bones of what the story is because we want to be involved in those universes. But yeah, don't yuck someone's yum if they're playing MJVariant card in the future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be
MJVariant Secret Layer coming out soon.
there's gonna be a special promo card in the TMNT secret layer where I'm like doing my nunchucks.
What weapon from TMNT did you as a kid?
Which weapon do I wish I could wield? You mean which weapon did I wield? Yeah, so it turns out these playmat sanctuaries from Nerd Gear hold more than just your playmats. They also hold your nunchucks. I might be a little rusty. Let's see what happens. Let's see. It's not too bad.
Please. Oh my gosh, please. That would be
have you
amazing.
have you seen my nunchuck video?
I don't know that I have, and I will have to find it after, or if you can send it to me if you know where it
Sure.
is.
It was
Because I know you do nunchuck stuff. I just never actually saw the video.
a Twitch whatever
Like a story.
whatever. Well, it took Celtic Warriors Twitch, not Twitch, Stitch. It's
Stitch. Okay.
a TikTok Stitch of Celtic Warriors video where he's like, "What Ninja
Oh,
Turtles would you want?" And have nunchucks that I've had since I was a teenager. And I used to like I was never formally trained, but my cousin taught me some tricks, and I've had them for years. And so I pulled my nunchucks out of my Nerd Gear playmat sanctuary and did some tricks.
I love that. I love that so much. I will have to. I know I saw you talking about that you do have nunchucks, that you do stuff with nunchucks, but also the like finding videos on TikTok feels really difficult right now.
Oh yeah.
So I'll have to go actually to your page to find that. So thank you for sharing that. And MJ, thank you so much for being here with us today. This was an absolute treat. You are a fantastic person. I'm so thankful that I've gotten to meet you and that I got to talk to you today. You are really doing so much good for the community, and you really are a rising star. I truly mean that. You know, you start out with the like, oh yeah, there's MJ. Right? You really are. Like to go from February, March of this year to where you are today. Like you are a rock star, and I'm so thankful that you're here.
Thanks, Jose, and I'm glad you're making content. Again, I love your series
Thank you.
highlighting just people that have meant a lot to you or that helped you along the way. I think
Yeah,
that's a great mission that you're on, and I'm looking forward to seeing you grow as well.
I appreciate that. Is there anything you'd like to plug today?
As far as plugs, again, interact with me mostly on Instagram. From there, you can find my link tree. I do have a lot of affiliate codes if you're looking for merchandise at a discount. So that one, it helps you. It buys, like maybe it's Christmas season, you're going to buy some magic related supplies or things for your significant other. Check out my link tree because again, there's lots of discount codes in there for different things that you want. I also have merchandise for Magic Junkies. I think that's just a really cool brand. I'd love
Yeah.
to see Magic Junkies grow because we're all Magic Junkies. And if there's something on there that maybe your significant other or yourself would like, buy it, treat yourself. It's available on there, and that also helps support me. I will say one last thing about the merchandise. It's on Fast Don't Like Gaming, which Kanye is a big part of the community.
Oh, Kanye.
Yeah, he's putting together multiple folks. So like Joe Johnson's merchandise, Tabletop Jocks is on there. Peachy Pop is on there. Goblin Grounds, Janky, Casual. I think Sorcerer's Stash. Like we're like assembling kind of a super team of content creators on Fast Don't Like Gaming. And you can go to the Creator Central. Let's see, what is it? Meet the Creators to see our pages. Our it's Creators Corner. Yeah, you can see all of our
Hey,
merchandise
that's my
and
thing.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. It's a looking at the link right here.
Dang it.
It's you keep it. You keep it for your thing.
I
But yeah,
appreciate
like,
it.
and the thing is, if you like the merchandise, you like the apparel or whatever, you buy it, you get it shipped for Christmas. Not only are you helping, you're getting a great gift, and that you're helping that creator, but also we give 1/3 of our proceeds to charity. And so each of us has picked a charity that's important to us, and you can read about that like in our creator bios. Mine is actually going to an organization that I've been on the board for the last few years called CASA, which is Court Appointed Special Advocates for Children in Foster Care.
Oh,
And so I've been on the board of directors for our local CASA, but basically there's volunteers that devote their time every month to one or two kids that are in foster care, and they meet with the kid. They ask them how the school's going. They kind of just get because again, their whole life's been turned upside down. They're taken out of their home. They're now in foster care, and so
mm,
this adult works with them just to kind of be their voice, so that whenever a court appointment is brought up for the parents to see if they're going to get, if they've done the things they need to do to have custody returned, this adult has been the voice of the child to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened. And so CASA is just means a lot to me because, kids in foster care are some of their most vulnerable folks. And so if you buy Magic Junkies, you're actually helping support CASA as well, with 1/3 of the proceeds going to them. And so anyway, check out that link at Fast Online Gaming. Anything else, I would love to collaborate. I would love to play with you. I would love to talk to you. So again, I think Jose, you're very easy to talk to as well.
thank
So
you.
reach out to one of us and just say, hey, we want to chat or we want to play or want to get your opinion. I'm always available.
Yeah, we love yapping. If you didn't notice already, we love
Yeah,
talking. It's
yeah.
it's it's a beautiful thing. But MJ, thank you again so much. This has really been a treat. You've been awesome.
Thanks.
No
Appreciate you
problem.
as well. And I love being on this. And I like this format too. For just, hey, let's just talk. Let's just talk about life. Let's talk about the game. Let's ask some questions. I love Chatter Gang, man.
Thank you. We really appreciate it, and everyone, we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Remember, when despair tries to win, counter with hope. Have a good one.